All right, time to switch to my headphones. Headset.
All right, 6 hours, but we did it. I enjoyed this game more than I enjoyed one, which I initially did not like this game going into it. I thought it was uncomfortable to be kind of thrust into the middle of the story because you had no context for any of the characters that you were introduced to. And I was just kind of like very pouty, arms crossed at the beginning, being like, who are these people? Why should I care about them? And they're showing like the ugliest sides of their personality. Like Minerva was insufferable at the start, I felt. Raz was just coming in a little too strong. And narratively, it was a very brave and reckless thing to do, but I think it worked. It eventually ended up working. But if it didn't, I think it really would have hurt the game. Because I think it was probably not the way I would have told the story. I feel like so many games nowadays are trying to start in the middle, go back, go forward, go back, go forward, instead of just trying to tell one streamlined story with twists and turns all the way forward. And I think this game ended up doing that just fine. I do like the fact that the missions have a lot of different terrains to them. I think like one of the things that bothered me about Valkyria Chronicles 1's missions, and I've talked about this in earlier streams, was that a lot of it was just like flat level ground. Every now and then you might have a ladder to a building, but just generally there might be like a couple of layers. There weren't like a lot of places to really kind of hide or do a lot of interesting things navigation wise when going through the areas. Like there was like a couple of missions where you might have been in like trenches, but I felt like the stakes felt higher in these missions. I do think it was a little bit cheap. They had a lot of mid-mission summons in a lot of these late game missions that I did not see coming, and sometimes you didn't even have to finish the turn for them to be reinforcements, and I'm like, well, now what do I do? And I feel like you're basically forced to restart because you have nothing to really do to deal with those situations. And let me kind of catch up and see what everybody else is. Wait, there's one more scene? Oh, right, the book. Where was that? Where is the book scene? Where is the book fair? Is this it? Oh, it's this epilogue here? That must be what unlocked then. Yeah, next page. Okay. Well, yeah, so I guess I could go ahead and yeah, let's watch that first. And I'll finish the rest of my thoughts. Audio for this? Okay.
When we first set out, all we really knew was that we had something worth fighting for. None of us could have foreseen what the fight would cost us. And maybe we'll never know if it changed us for the better. But in the end, through all the hope, all the tragedy, the things I hold on to are the memories of my friends, of their smiles. It was a battlefield, but it was where we grew up.
With the unexpected announcement of a ceasefire, the Second European War came to an abrupt end, leaving soldiers and civilians alike to count the Eastern Theater's almost unfathomable losses. A death toll numbering over 10 million. It had been a global war, a conflict beyond anything the world had ever faced. Historians speculate that the ceasefire saved Europa from a cataclysmic drop in population. Yet the truth of Operation Cygnus and of the Valkyria themselves was swiftly hidden from the public eye. And so this story of those who crossed the frozen sea passed into history untold.
Okay, and then of course we saw this screen already. We don't need to watch it again. Oh, it doesn't let you skip it, you just fast forward. Yeah, that was probably one of the most egregious, just because it was the toughest to kind of adjust to. Yeah, I think that said 3 dead, didn't it? You know, we have Christelle is dead. We have Raz, and then we have Dissection Girl. What I unfortunately I forgot her name. So there's 3 total that should be dead. Yeah, Teresa. Yes, Teresa. Sorry. I have to use certain mnemonic devices or things to... Yes, I did. I did. I'm sorry. But yeah, going back over the point, yeah, I definitely enjoyed the game more than 1. Granted, there are some characters like I do enjoy in 1, like I did eventually like Rosie when Rosie became less racist, and I did like Largo. Varrett was good. I felt the main cast was fairly strong in 1, but I felt a little bit more emotional connection to the characters in this game compared to 1, especially Chiari and Nicola. I felt like they got like the worst deaths, I think, out of anybody in this series. I did enjoy a lot of the main cast in this, especially I did enjoy Raz. I did enjoy Minerva quite a lot. Like, she was the character I thought I was going to hate like the least, given her introduction, and she ended up being like my favorite character. And I already explained the differences between the like the fact that I like the terrains were more involved. The missions felt like more involved in this particular game as well. I do like the fact that you get little nuggets and rewards that can be equipable on characters for getting A ranks and doing certain things in the game. That was a little bit addictive, and unfortunately maybe a little too addictive for my guard brain, because I do think it did noticeably impact how I played certain missions, and I didn't chase the A rank at all in Valkyria Chronicles 1, except for the DLC where I needed A rank to unlock certain missions later on down the line. Yeah, Teresa and Crystal got merged into Squad E because we inherited the will of Squad F, more like the wills of Squad F because everyone was dead, but ultimately we got everybody in. Where is Raz? Yeah, that was the other thing. I even commented on it earlier. It felt like Darkson racism didn't really exist except in Squad stories. It really didn't play much of a role in the main game, despite the fact that Valkyria Chronicles 1 was like literally everywhere. It was like so thematically important to the game, and it didn't really matter at all in this main storytelling. And the music I felt was better in 1, though. That is the one thing, one of the big things I felt that this game had over Valkyria Chronicles 4 is I do think the music was a lot more memorable, especially the main Squad for Gallia theme that played throughout the missions and the opening and everything else. I do think it was just a stronger soundtrack than this game. What was the theme of this one then? I guess that sometimes there is no good guy and bad guy, and both sides can do equally detestable, deplorable things. And that's why everybody should ceasefire and give Angie their bread, I think is the theme of this game. I don't really know. I feel like, I feel like war can make people do a lot of ugly things, but I do agree, like, there were times it got a little bit thematically convoluted just because so much was happening all at one time. Maybe Galleons are more racist. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it biffs that. Yeah, more than a character knowledge for its dark. So the Dark story is simple but satisfying. Yes, especially because it relates to the lore. I mean, they tie the Darkson explanation was tied back to the story they were telling about the Valkyries, the Valkyria, and everything else. So it fit thematically. It had a place in its story. Even though Valkyria were very much important here, it didn't really matter, I guess, for the storytelling narrative for this game. So I guess they just skipped it. But it absolutely mattered for one. It was extremely important. Yeah. Yeah, I think that the way that one told its story was better. I feel like it flowed quite a bit better, but the theme was a little bit muddy. Again, I think, and I've said it in Discord, I've said it earlier, Angie should have just been introduced earlier. I think they could have probably done it and have had it just as compelling instead of just introducing her with a bunch of refugees. I think they could have had the whole the Centurion and all the other ships coming in, and then her role be important there later. But yeah, Valkyria Chronicles 1 told a very simple story, and it was very sweet. And I mean, ultimately I like both games. I gave Valkyria Chronicles 1 an 80. I think I'm going to give this game an 81. It's slightly better. I know that just sounds like a very nitpicky score to give it, but I do enjoy it quite a bit. But it was kind of a mess in places. But I love it. Gets an awesome thumbs up recommendation from me. It hits a must play score. People, I got it for like $11.99, so I got it for a pretty good price. I bought the physical disc for it. The DLC, as far as I can tell, is $4.99 for it, and we're obviously playing it for the crossover so that I guess Rags can meet Hans, and we'll have like an amazing mission between the two of them or something. I don't know. Lofty aspirations. Do you think it resolves simple too? Does it do anything interesting with its atom bomb? I mean, not really. It seems like they kind of dropped that whole thing. I mean, like there's still like a bunch of they said like hundreds of other similar Valkyria children were harvested, and I guess I don't know what's going to happen with that, but it seems like nuclear war is very much here to stay as a result of that. The technology is out there now thanks to Riley, and I guess we just have to deal with it. Yeah, so I was kind of I think that Nicola and Chiari, I think the most were characters that I think needed a little bit more development. It's completely 100% implied that they've been, well, not implied, it's known explicitly that they were experimented on, but like the context of how they met Lord Belgar, like their backstories, what they used to be like I would have liked to have known a bit more of those things. I just knew that they were crazy, and that's a fine introduction, but learning why they were crazy made it more sad, a lot more sad for what ultimately ended up happening with them. They only really considered the human toll when the ceasefire happened. I mean, I guess we would have ended up killing 1/5 of the casualties that had already happened, which was 10 million. The gameplay systems of 4 are much more refined than 1. I think it's a lot more refined. I love the idea of having leaders. I loved having like Scott or Curtis or whoever I used enough being a leader to take 2 other people with you for team attacks. That's amazing. That's really fun, and that's a wonderful reward for using units over and over again, is giving them the opportunity to be a commander and lead other units. I think that's a brilliant decision. I did enjoy the Grenadier as a class, except when the enemies had them and they use it against me, then it's unforgivable. But I did enjoy having the opportunity to use them. I think some of the maps that initially had them utilized were pretty well designed, especially for like having really high up their turrets and having like good indicators and signals that you needed to use certain things. Yeah, I think it was a very fun game, and it's still going. So Tuesday, I will come back and we'll do some of the post game. I don't know. I think it's the skirmishes we basically have to do. Like, I have one regular skirmish, but where's hard mode skirmishes? Oh, here they are. So these must be the hard mode ones. Yeah, 6 hours and 17 minutes. That is a new record that I don't think I'll be beating anytime soon. That's basically the equivalent of over 2 of my streams, to be quite honest. Yeah, I'm just gonna assume that I just need to A rank everything like I have been doing, and we'll be fine. The good news is that skirmishes tend to be way short because they tend to be capture the base type missions, and so a lot of them can be done in a single turn. Like, basically every one of these skirmishes here have all been done in one turn. Like, I have not had to take multiple turns to do these, so I imagine the hard mode, I mean, they might be like really the hardest 1 turns of your life, but I don't think they'll be terrible. Anyway, we shall see. We'll see that on Tuesday. It is 11:51. I still have to shower, do yoga, I guess have a little bit of a dinner, although I'm going to be eating in about 7 hours or so. I'll have something in my stomach, but thank you all for stopping by, and I'll see all of you Tuesday. Thank you for those of you who stuck with me to the bitter end. Have a wonderful night.